Hello and welcome back to the Trev Log. I'm going to continue working with Bad Decisions Studio tutorial entitled Unreal Engine 5 Beginner Tutorial Part 6, and this is going to be Part 2 for me because I ended last time having figured out how to bring materials into onto these cubes and create some parent materials and uh, child materials and so on and so on. And now I'm going to be learning how to bring assets or materials from the internet to the scene, and so figure out how that's going to work. Excited about it. Let's check it out. Okay, so they went to a website called textures.com, went to the free materials, and then found one called Sci-Fi Panel. So let's do that. Textures.com, and then free right here at the top. Got all these. Let's scroll down a bit. Oh, here it is, Sci-Fi Panel. Okay, click on it. Then I haven't found out what to do next, so let's. Okay, so what I'm going to do is download the different maps, except not the height one. They said that we'll find out why we don't need to download this height one, but okay. So I'm going to go ahead and if they're going to make me log in to download, looks like. So I'm just going to create, well, let's click download and see what happens. Yeah, okay. I will pause while I make a login for this, and then we'll download it. Okay, so at this point, I have created an account. It was extremely easy. I did have to go and find the activation link that they sent me to activate my account in my spam. So in case that matters, in case that comes up for you, they downloaded the 4K, the extra large one. I could download smaller packages or maps, but I'm going to go with 4K and see how that goes for me. So let's see, download, and then skip the height one, download. This is, I don't know what albedo is, but there's normal, roughness, metallic, and ambient occlusion. Okay, all of those. And I'm just going to put these into all these downloads into a place, I guess. They just have theirs on their PC. I'm going to put it into my Trev Log materials folder personally. So put these videos here. And make a new window. And you don't need to see all this. I'm sure you know how to move files around. So pause for now. All right, so I've placed those maps into I've created a new folder called materials. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my content drawer with Control spacebar. Then I'm going to go to, let's see, I go. I'm not sure, so I'm going to need to figure that out really quickly. I'm not going to make you wait. Hold on. Okay, So what it is I'm going to create a new folder here in under content in my content drawer. So right click content and then go to new folder, and they called theirs textures from the internet, which they were unsatisfied with. But I'm going to call it textures. I guess you can't use a period, so I'm going to say underscore and then com. So it's like textures.com. I don't know. Seems fine. And now here we are. We're in this folder, and what we need to do is just open the file folder, go to where you have downloaded your maps, you highlight all of them, then drag them into Unreal Engine. And go. Now, there they all are. So awesome. That was extremely easy. It'll be even easier next time because I already have a textures.com account. Cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is create a new material like I did in the last episode. So right click in this big black space where the materials are, then go to material and select that. We're going to call this sci-fi underscore. Okay, that's good. And we're going to double click this in order to open up the whatchamadoodle, the one, material node base. Oh, the material graph. That's what it. There. And then maximize this and right click in order to drag this around. And from here, what I need to do is pull all of those materials into this space. So control space brings up the materials, and just like before where I highlighted everything in the folder and dragged it into here, I'm going to highlight all of these things, maybe, perhaps. I'm going to shift click all of these things and then drag them. There they are. And okay, wonderful. See what's next. And so importantly, I'm going to separate all these out from each other. But these are all obviously textures that I've downloaded. So I don't need to update any of the information like the roughness or metallic level or um, the emissive color or specularity or any of that stuff because unless I want to. I can, if we choose to, but it's not necessary if we want to use what was provided by textures.com. Okay, let's find out. So I have learned that it's pronounced albedo, according to what they were just saying. And so I'm going to select this, and you can see the name of this texture is TCOM Sci-Fi Panel 4K Albedo in the left underneath the actual image. So when I'm looking at the details panel, because I've selected it, um, it's there. I don't see it in the node itself, what it's called. So just wanted to point out that's where you can find the name. Now, albedo is the base color. So I'm going to take this white as RGB, it's all of them put together. I'm going to drag it to base color. If I see that green check mark, let go. And now there it is. Let's ourselves. So that's pretty cool. You can see how it's changed already. Okay, so we'll see what's next. Okay, so going to store down, and I'm going to apply this one change that's been done so far, because that's the only way that it works. Apply, and then I'm going to drag this out onto here, and now you can see there it is, what we've done so far. So there's other parts now, so let's maximize this back. And let me just make sure I'm not terribly kind of myself in a corner. All right, I hope. Think. Okay, so I'm going to do roughness next, which I think was this one. Maybe still one in the bottom, but let's click this. This is called, oh, this one's metallic. I bet it's this one. Yeah, roughness. Okay, so I'm going to drag this node up to roughness. All right, so from where it says RGB up to roughness, and now you can see that it's shinier. That looks cool. That's cool. I hope you're enjoying this because I'm enjoying this. It's really cool to see, be learning these tools, and I'm excited to apply them more and more. So next is metallic. I'm going to go from where it says RGB over to metallic, and then yes. Now let's try and recall. Do I hold Control and click this? Yes. Control and click disconnects it, and you can see the change. This lighter gray is turning black when I set this up. Yeah, that looks really cool. Okay. Okay. Neat. Now we're going to hook up the normal map, which I believe is this one that looks kind of blue and purple. Let's click it, and yeah, when you look at the name under Material Expression Texture Base, it says TCOM Sci-Fi Panel 4K Normal, so that's good. We're going to bring the RGB node to the normal node, and let's just see what happens. It adds some additional details here. Whoa, too close. Like these little, I'm not sure what. Well, details anyway. Okay, nice. Let's hit apply. That's all good. And when we hit restore down, all this firing. What? Had to do. So control it applied. So that's control space. I wonder what happens if I. Oh, I did control B. Blah. But that's okay. And engine and textures.com. Sci-fi panels. We'll put it on this other cube. And apparently some of these changes that I've done have not applied or saved. So let me figure out why that's not working currently. Okay, so I have saved, I've applied. I It's still not changing, which makes me wonder if perhaps it's the fact that I had a different material on it. I don't know if it just straight up replaces it or what exactly. Let's try applying this really quick to this. Um, it says asset has unsaved changes. What if I save this over here? Selected. Those are still okay. Control space and not not making the updates. I'm very surprised about that. Let's close this one. Sure. It doesn't look like it's changing in here either, despite the fact that I have made changes to it. So I'm really not sure about that. I keep experimenting. Okay, so I've uncoupled everything, and I'm going to go back into this is albedo. Okay, that's base color. Going to connect it to base color. And then this still has this texture, so when I click apply, it should change it. Okay, it's changed. Now I'm going to go to roughness was next. Was this one? Let's just double check to be sure I'm not saying anything wrong. Yep, it's roughness. So let's pull the RGB node to where it says roughness here. Then click apply. Okay, that seems to have changed things up. And then next one after that was metallic. So we'll go from the metallic node to metallic. We will hit apply again. Okay, little bits of changes did certainly happen there. I wonder if I was just too far away. No, that's why I wasn't seeing things. Maybe. Um, Perhaps, I suppose. Then this was what the blue was the normal. So from RGB over to normal, and then apply. Okay, there are the little details. I wonder if I just couldn't see it at far away, perhaps with you. That'd be kind of neat if that's all it was. And then lastly, but not leastly, is this one called AO, which I don't know about yet because I got stuck wondering what was going on. So, okay, now that that's sorted, let's see what's up with AO. Okay, so they were saying that ambient occlusion is what AO stands for, and uh, so yes, if you double click the node, it opens up the content drawer, and then we can double click this and look at it. Basically, and I'm certainly no expert on this, but ambient occlusion is talking about in the corners where it can get kind of dark. So that darkness in the corner is not always present in CD or in like Unreal Engine here. Uh, and you need to include that for a sense of realism. Otherwise, it can kind of look fake. And so that's what this is about. This, and then we will drag. I want you to be able to see it. This is small. that big again. Right here, ambient occlusion, it says simulate the self-shadowing that happens within crevices of a surface or of a volume for volumetric clouds only. Okay, cool. So RGB down to that. And then let's the sphere to see what changed. They were saying it's not necessarily a lot sometimes. Yeah, I didn't really see anything change, but I'll hit apply. Yeah, it's not easy to tell the difference, like these little corners or these edges. Perhaps a change happened there. Let's save. Selected. Cool. Everything's saved. All right, let's continue. All right, at this point, I'm going to minimize this out of our way. Back up. And now I'm going to take this cube here and I'm going to switch scaling. So R, reminder, and I'm going to scale it up. As I do that, they were saying it looks weird. You can see like down at the bottom doesn't have some of the same things going on. Just, yeah, it doesn't quite look right. Sure. And that's what we're going to do is we're going to get back into this and they are going to have us hook up to these UVs, which it says defaults to constant coordinate if not specified. I don't exactly know what that means, but let's, I guess, stack these up. I'll go down at the bottom, I guess. Okay, and basically, now that this is all ready, we're going to go grab something that's already pre-packaged in Unreal Engine called MF tiling. And that's basically, we're going to be able to hook up this tiling to each of the UVs on all of these nodes. And it's going to help address the way in which the skin is wrapping around the object. And we could do it ourselves manually, like in the last episode where we were adjusting everything ourselves. But this has already been provided, so that'll be convenient to just use what's already there. So right click to bring up this search and then search for tiling. And apparently any of these MF tilings will do. Click it and then you get an MF tiling node. And we're going to connect this to all the UVs like I was just saying. Okay, so it says result, by the way. So here, result UV, and this is just, yeah, just like what we were doing where we were setting up parameters. I believe we're going to be getting into creating an instance material. Shall see exactly what's going to happen, but that way we can adjust things like we did last time. Okay, that's all been done. Let's see what's next. And they made a good point. Hit apply, of course, and then also save. Sure. Haven't had a crash yet, knock on wood, but I don't want to lose progress. So apply, save, and so I was right. We are going to make a material instance. So let's restore this down. Let's go back into the main area, control space, and right click on Sci-Fi panel at this point and go up to where it says create material instance. This is because just like last time, we had parameters that we were able to start adjusting um, in the material instance. And that's what we're doing. That's what MF tiling is going to let us do. So create material instance, sci-fi panels, what's it called? Or inst. Okay, that's fine. And we'll save that as well. Okay, so that the instance is created. Let's see what they're going to have us do. So I wasn't thinking about this, but it makes perfect sense. That what we're going to do is apply this material instance to well, it's not really a cube anymore, but the stretched cube, rectangular prism, and now we're going to be able to open it up and get into it. All right, I'm going to minimize this out of our way at this point. When we select this and we look in the details panel for this, make sure that we have it actually correct. All right, when they selected, they took a look on in the details panel and they were seeing that material was there, and I wasn't seeing that, so I was not sure exactly what I needed to push. So it says right here, static mesh component underneath cube 10, and it says cube 10 instance. So let's click this, and there it is. Materials, sci-fi panels instance. So let's open this up. No, there it is. Perfect. And then other material. Nope. And what we're gonna do here, they have tiling offset, which wasn't immediately visible to me. When you click the down arrow next to global, or then it brings this up. So basically, the MF tiling is providing all these parameters automatically so that we don't have to create the parameters. So let's click this. And now we can adjust the settings, the parameters.
Okay. And I believe
Okay,
that brings.
snap, I accidentally unpaused. Well, the video is still playing. Sorry about that. Let's zoom out just a smidge. We'll move back a little bit. This out of our way a little bit. And again, maybe it's because of the size of my screen is, but the down arrow needs to be selected again. And so you see tiling X, tiling Y, offset X, and offset Y. And these are the parameters that we can now adjust. You see how it lets you, that looks starting to look better. That's pretty neat. But basically, we want to just make it look like tiling actually. Now, what were their official settings? 1 and 3.9 or something? Uh, just reset this? No. Enter 3.9 it looks like. Pretty cool. Um, zoom in a little bit on it. Now this is looking looking like tiling. Yeah, there we go. That's interesting. That's what the problem was. I was too far away. That's so funny. Because the light from my rectangular lights is hitting it and made it so I couldn't see it. Anyway, no, I think that looks good. It's awesome. Um, it's definitely a process learning how to use Unreal Engine. There's so much going on, and like it, I have been like, what am I missing? And you know, obviously, if you've been with me at all, then you've heard me say, "Oh my goodness," and what is happening? Um, and so I'm just gonna continue to stick with it, because like, even though every new episode are more leads to more questions, it also leads to more answers. Saying autosave, so opportunity to save. And let's see, we're very close to the end of this episode from them. This might have been the last thing we did. Just check. Yes, so that was the last thing at this point. Um, that's yeah, it's really cool. I'm pretty excited about it. Won't drag the ending out for too long, but just to say, um, yeah, it's at this point we have now learned we've learned how to create our own materials with our own settings and parameters. We've also now learned how to well, the downloading process was, normal, but download and bring in materials from the internet and then use them and use MF tiling from within Unreal Engine to create our own parameters. Well, not our own, but to create parameters that allow us to fix materials that look weird when you try and stretch the object, because that was the problem. It didn't look right once we tried to stretch the object, and this process of creating material instance and applying the MF tiling allowed us to fix that issue quite easily, actually. Like at the end of the day, knowing how to do that um, is makes it a pretty easy process. So that's awesome. With that, thanks for being here. Um, and I hope you're having fun, like I was saying before, and learning a lot. And I know that my uploads have been less frequent, but like I said in a previous episode, I was on break, and so the uploads were inevitably going to slow down. But so far, I've been doing at least a couple episodes per week still, and that's my goal is to do at least 2 or 3 episodes per week. So I hope that you keep coming back and learning Unreal Engine with me. And if you don't, well, I'm still gonna do it. And cool. All right. Cheers.